Good morning, everyone. It's August the 9th, 2018. Well, there's a few things here I wanted to mention to you. The first thing is yesterday we were looking forward to the release of um, the report on clergy sex abuse in Pennsylvania, and that hasn't been released. So, um, what it says here is a last minute round of legal maneuvering to keep some names from appearing in a grand jury report detailing a months long investigation of clergy sex abuse claims in six Pennsylvania dioceses may have kept the document from being made public August the 8th, the earliest date given for its possible release. On August 8th, the Pittsburgh Post Gazette newspaper reported that confidential sources said more than one person filed a challenge under court seal. Some of those named in the report have been given until August 7th to file a challenge objecting to their inclusion in the report because they have not had the legal opportunity to defend themselves. Hmm. They are scheduled to have a hearing with the court in September. Pennsylvania has until August 14th to release the report, which is said to detail some 7 decades of claims. And the article goes on. So, um, well, I'm a little confused here. It says Pennsylvania has until August the 14th to release the report. And in the previous paragraph, it says um, that these people who are legally challenging under the basis that they haven't had an opportunity to defend themselves, they are scheduled to have a hearing with the court in September. So I don't know how they can release the report when they're not sure whether or not they can include these people's names. But so there's some legal maneuvering going on there anyway. So the next thing is I like to mention that as I read different articles, um, there have been several people who are really putting forth this idea of a laity-led commission, and to me, at first that sounded real good. However, then I read another article that says that doesn't really work, and the problem with that is, first of all, a laity led commission, regardless of who they're appointed by, wouldn't really have subpoena power. In other words, they couldn't subpoena documents from different dioceses, they couldn't subpoena any people, and they certainly don't have the authority to punish anyone. So that doesn't really seem to work. And what the article, at the end of the article, it said that there's only one person that can really, that has these kinds of powers, and that's the Pope. He's the one who can convene subpoena people to come before the Vatican court, and he's the one who can punish. Of course, now a secular court could do that, but I'm sure the church would do everything it could to um, just deal with all this internally. Um, you know, all these whoever's withheld information um, from the authorities, from the secular authorities, um, obviously has broken the law. Um, so there's other than I mentioned, yeah, in my last video, the sins of omission of good bishops not speaking up and the seriousness of that. Although I see this morning there's another bishop that has spoken up. So I think at most that makes about five or six. But, they need to keep on coming forward. So, and I think history teaches us that unless the Pope is confronted, like he was confronted with Cardinal McCarrick, he was confronted with the Chilean abuse scandal. Um, the Pope does have a commission that is studying, changes and things, but I haven't read anything that says that they're really doing anything, or they, and they've been around for, oh, I don't know, quite a while, quite a number of months, if not even longer than that. I don't know if it's a year or 2 years. That I don't know, but although these things take time to study, but there's been no movement. There's been no going out by this commission and actually doing something. And in fact, a woman by the name of Janet Smith, who's a moral theologian, was part of this commission for a while, and then she quit. Um, I guess from what I remember, the commission just wasn't really getting anywhere, and you know. So whether it's just a commission on paper or whether at some point they'll do something, um, I think if there's enough outcry, see that gets back to the bishops who aren't speaking up. They need to speak up and they need to keep the pressure on. Anyway, so the main picture there that you're looking at, if you're looking at it, is this one here, and here's a new one here. So this is California Bishop Jaime Soto covered up gay sex abuse. Okay, so here I'll read some of this to you. Sacramento, California. Court documents from sex abuse lawsuits are exposing the extent to which several California bishops covered up for serial abusers, while faithful Catholics are outraged that known gay priests are still being protected. Court documents released in the 2005 settlement show Sacramento Bishop Jaime Soto, Bishop William Johnson, then Auxiliary Bishop Michael Driscoll, all in the Diocese of Orange, and Tijuana Bishop Emilio Burley, all knew and covered up for priests known to be abusers. By 2009, the Diocese of Orange had the distinction of doling out the third highest payout to victims of sexual abuse in the United States. The U.S. Church, topped only by two other California dioceses, Los Angeles and San Diego. In the mid 2000s, these three dioceses alone were ordered to pay over $1 billion to almost 800 victims. Hey boy, goodness gracious, isn't that just amazing? You know, I mean, what it takes to keep all this sort of thing quiet. This offering victims of clerical sexual abuse money to keep quiet is basically what it is. They're paid off. Boy, you wonder why the secular authorities didn't get more involved with this, but I'm sure it's all very complicated. Anyway, here, let's click on this video. What's this gonna?
Bishop Brown, have you ever seen any of these documents before? In 1997, have you ever been accused of abusing anybody?
Yes, I was accused of
Have you been accused of molesting anybody else?
Well, I don't think you can hear that. Let's see here. Just hold on a minute. Let me see how long this video is. Maybe I'll post this along with the. It's only 4 minutes long. Well, I think I'll put this up. Now, this is a deposition by Bishop Todd Brown. Let's see what it says about him. Um, Here. Yeah, you have to hang out with me here for a moment. Let's see here. In 2007, when Bishop Brown was made the bishop of the Diocese of Orange, the OC Weekly blasted him and his new sex abuse policy called The Covenant with the Faithful. Bishop Brown promised a new era of transparency for sex abuse claims, but failed to disclose that he was personally accused of sexual abuse. An unnamed man claimed when he was 12 in 1965 Bishop Brown was a priest in the Diocese of Fresno and sexually abused him. Documents provided to the OC Weekly showed that both Cardinal Mahoney and Bishop Steinbach knew of the allegations. You know, there's so many people involved here. Here, well, this video is only 4 minutes long. I think I'll just up. Here now. Here's more of the article talking about a bishop by the name of McFarland. You know, a lot of this stuff has never, come to light because of the way it's been dealt with. Boy, there must be an awful lot of people here. Well, that's about it for now. I'll make this little 4-minute video part of the post, and we'll talk to you later on in the day.
Bishop Brown, have you ever seen any of these documents before? In 1997, have you ever been accused of abusing anybody?
Yes, I was accused of sexually molesting.
Have you been accused of molesting anybody else?
I've never been accused of molesting anybody except for that one accusation.
Have you ever been accused of sexual misconduct in your official capacity, either as a priest or a bishop?
I've never been accused of sexual misconduct in any time during my life.
Okay. Have you ever engaged in sexual misconduct with a seminarian at St. John's Seminary?
I've never engaged in sexual misconduct with any seminarian.
Okay. In July of 1997, were you contacted by Bishop Steinbach?
Bishop Steinbach called me in Boise, Idaho.
And what did he say?
Bishop Steinbach told me that he had a complaint about a priest in Idaho who had molested a young man in the Diocese of Fresno. And when he said that, I began to wonder who could that possibly be. And then he told me that I was the one who was accused.
Okay. And what happened?
I was shocked by the accusation.
Did he tell you who the accuser was?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So basically what happened is Bishop Steinbach called you and asked you if it was true?
He told me about the accusation, and I told him immediately that I was not, that had never happened.
Okay. And that was it?
That was it, and then periodically we would have phone contact in terms of the ongoing investigation being conducted by the Diocese of Fresno.
Okay. Did anybody from the Diocese of Fresno interview you?
I don't know I'm not sure who Bishop Steinbach, what panel or what group of people he dealt with in terms of investigation. I believe that the HR person was involved in that.
How do you... Sorry, go ahead, Bishop.
I'm not sure what his name is. I think it's here someplace.
Wait, just tell him what you remember.
I think the HR person was involved, and I think there were 2 or 3 priests who were involved in that investigation also.
Now, did Craig Cox or anybody from Cardinal Mahoney's office ever call you and advise you they had received an allegation?
No one called me from Los Angeles about the allegation.
When the allegation occurred, did you alert the Papal Nuncio's office?
No, I did not.
In a previous deposition, Bishop Brahm told us that when he received an allegation, that's what he did because that was protocol.
I would object to that. It states facts, not evidence.
Well, have you ever heard anything like that before, that there's a protocol when a bishop is accused?
I'm not aware of a protocol, but I would have expected if there was a report to the Papal Nuncio, would have been done by one of the other bishops.
Okay. Did you call Cardinal Mahoney as the Metropolitan and advise him of the accusation?
I called Cardinal Mahoney and spoke to him about the accusation.
When did you do that?
The night that I received the phone call from Bishop Steinbach.
And what did you tell him?
Well, I told him about the telephone call, and obviously told him that this had never happened.
Obviously, this must have been very distressing to you.
Extremely distressing.
And why didn't you make the allegation public?
At that time, I didn't make the allegation. It wasn't up to me to make the allegation public.
Well, have you seen where Cardinal Mahoney was accused, he says falsely, on two occasions, and he immediately made them public?
I know about those occasions.
So why didn't you make this allegation public?
I didn't make the allegation public because I knew it was not true.